Good morning, everyone. It's June 30th, 2023. It's the last day of the month for the trading day. And yeah, looking at the market here, just finishing up my watch list. So it's 4 minutes before the market opens, and I am watching a couple of stocks today. All right, so for today, let's look at SPY. SPY is strong. It's up by 0.79%, so up by $3.48, and hence that's the reason why we do have a couple of gappers today to the gap up. The biggest gap up today is XPEV. XPEV is up by 8%. One of the EV company sector is manufacturing. Let's look at how strong this thing is during pre-market. So pre-market, we have a pre-market high at 12.88, pre-market low at 12.46, less than $1 move there. So we'll see if this is going to give us an opportunity today. Had been respecting VWAP here, so that is XPEV. Next one is Tesla. Tesla a little bit up by 1.2%. Pre-market low is at 257 with a pre-market high of 260. So 260, 257 here, a gap or a move of $3. So that's Tesla. And then next one is AMD. AMD is up by 1.5%. Pre-market low is yesterday's closing price with a pre-market high of 113.18. Less than 2 minutes before the market opens. All right. Apple is a gap up by 1.1%, so almost flat. The one that really fits our criteria here is just XPEV so far, but XPEV had just moved by less than $1. So the strategy today is just wait on the sideline, just because we are coming to a holiday weekend. Monday is open, but it's going to be only half a day. It is a Friday, so expect that volume will be not as much compared to a typical day. CBNA is up by 4.1%. So CBNA is interesting today, but it is an inside bar. So considering that it's an inside bar, it just can go back and forth previous candlestick from yesterday. So, all right, market is now open. CCL is a gap up by 3.8%. So this one as well is good. Had moved less than $1. So kind of the same as our XPEV, that is just less than $1 move. In case we don't get any movers at all, then we can consider that less than $1 move. So this is the only pre-market gap down list that I have, which is Nike. So Nike, its pre-market high is at 111.93. Pre-market low is, let's see here, market is now open by 52 seconds. Pre-market low is at 107. Down by 1.8%, so not really a lot. We are heading to those levels in the daily, so not really interested to that. XPEV is under the VWAP in the daily, so that can serve as a strong resistance there. Tesla is, let's see here, testing yesterday's high price. AMD, we do have those moving averages there. So let's see what SPY is going to do, and we'll go from there. Apple is very strong. Apple had already bounced off of VWAP. CBNA here, let's see, this is the level right there, is an inside bar, and CCL, so I'm looking at the daily here, is testing the high of yesterday. But the volume did pick up here, so that is a very potential for a long. CCL already just formed an opening range breakout, but I did not plan to do any opening range breakout. All right, since I did place my levels already, I am going to turn off my pre-market data. XPEV, testing that VWAP right there. 3.2 million. Let's see. So what I don't like about AMD is it's just consolidating here. So let's trim down on what is the best stock to basing on the daily. XPEV is just really strong. Tesla breaking yesterday's high price. AMD having a pullback. Apple is very strong, as well as Mara. Bitcoin had been doing good. That's why that's a sympathy play with Mara. CCL. So let's focus on XFAB, Mara, and Apple. XFAB just had a pullback. So with XFAB, since it went below VWAP, a good play here is a 90 MA play, but so far it's not there yet. Mara, Apple is just chopping around the VWAP, empty, doing nothing. Tesla is flat, inside bar. Nike just had a rejection at the VWAP. Yeah, look at this one. There's just no continuation. This one is just still very close to VWAP. XFAB. XFAB, I'm looking at a test of 12.47, which is the pre-market low, close to the 90 MA. Once it touched the 90 MA, it gives us a hammer at that point. Then the reversal of that hammer could be an entry. The higher the entry, if we trade 5 minutes candlestick, would be more stable comparing to a lower time frame. So nothing yet. So this is the test of pre-market low that I was waiting for. Just looking at if there's any other stocks that is moving right now. So it did not even tested this pre-market low, just bounced off of 12.46. So that is already almost a 10 cents bounce there. What I don't like about this is look at the volume. The volume is not there when it was pushing up. You do have volumes right here, or stocks of asked, which is bullish, but it is not supported by a big volume here. So that means it can just have a rejection at the VWAP, and VWAP is not too far. So we're just talking about a scalp trade there, like a couple of cents. Mara had a good rejection right here. Look at that dump right there. It had been heading higher high, higher low for the past couple of days. Now it's testing yesterday's closing price. Volume is not there with XFAB. So with that, let's look at a different one that has a volume. So our next one is Mara, which is now dumping. That's very interesting regarding Mara, because what we want to do is wait for a reversal. AMD, this one is just flat. Looking at the daily. Nike already had a big move right there. Had a rejection in the 90 MA there. Small position in Nike for a short. Stop loss right here is just above this VWAP right here. So stop loss is 111.18. Okay, let's look at what Mara is doing now. So Mara had a big reversal here, still have a bunch of bids sitting here. So that is very bearish still. With the volume that had picked up here, there's just no sign of reversal here yet. Too early for a reversal. Nike, I just have a very small position there. CCL had a pullback. CCL now is the one that formed that 90 MA. That's the one that I was waiting for XBEV. But XBEV without the volume, expect that there would not be any continuation there with the movements. Nike here, another rejection here at the 90 MA, as well as the VWAP. Volume is not there though. Okay, volume starting to increase here. Looking at our 5 minutes here, this can just also be just a consolidation. Let's look at our bid and our ask. Do we have any big volume sitting on the bid or the ask, there's none. So this one can easily just pop as well up to the VWAP. But if this goes below 10.68 and it gives us a confirmation, then 10.6867 will be, or 110.67 will be a good place to add to the short. Not the best setup here, just because the daily still looks like there's some consolidation there. Since I added to my position, I am going to update my stop loss. So pros and cons in adding to your position is you're now increasing your risk because you have more position. Of course, the positive thing there is if it works in your favor, then you get to monetize on that. Already have 2 5 minutes here that looks very overextended with Mara. Do we have any signs of reversal here? Nothing yet. Apple is strong. CBNA, nothing, it's just flat. Nike have a potential to test 109 again. I don't want to add to my position just because look at the volume, it's not there. So expect that it will just be a little bit of a chop fest there. PLTR have this inverted hammer, could have been a good reversal here, considering that it's just 943, too early for reversal plus a big wick. So that would mean that, yeah, I wouldn't want to touch that trade. Mara, I like this hammer right here. We do still have a bunch of bid, so that means this can still just consolidate before having a spike up. Now, Nike is working in my favor, but since I only have a small position, instead of taking some partial, what I'll do is just lower down my stop loss. So if this gives a sign of reversal, it pops back up, then I will just be out of this trade, but that's totally fine just because I did not get to add more to my shares. I only have 600 shares there. So expect that would be a bouncing area, 109.79, because that is the support and that is the low of the day. So that would be a struggle for this one to have a bounce. Okay, so got to stop out there. Small profit, 168. Part of the strategy today was to have it conservatively just because it's a Friday. Did we pick up the volume here? 13.70. It did bounce off of 13.39. We're testing yesterday's closing price, so that can be a ceiling or a resistance there. So let's look for an easier trade. XPAV. Volume start to pick up in the VWAP. But look at the volume right here to open. We do have that 1.2 million, and then it is just flat right here. CBNA had a tiny VWAP play there. No continuation, just because it's an inside bar. And this is why I did not enter Mara, just because the volume is still not there. This volume here, when it's pushing up, is actually going lower. So that means the momentum for this to go up is not there yet. Nike looks like it just stopped me out, but still has some room for this to go down. We do now have the 9 EMA rejection at Nike. Did AMD pick a direction yet? Okay, almost $1 move. Let's see. So sympathy play. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia is very strong. And let's compare it to the SPY. SPY having a little bit of a pullback here. High of the day is 442.42. So no open position yet here. Apple having a little bit of a pullback as well. XPEV having that curl, about to test the high of the day. It will be interesting on what XPEV will do once it reaches 12.91. Now, will I do any reversal at this point? Too early. It's just 9 minutes and 47. Yeah, just 17 minutes into the open, so too early for reversal. Now we touched this one twice now. We have built that resistance there. Look at the wick right here where we did test 110.99 again. So 111 is acting as a strong resistance here in Apple. big order sitting right here that's bearish. Volume is not there with this big candlestick. So I'm opening a position in Nike. Stop loss right here is just above this moving average, 111.12. Tight stop loss, just above that moving average. Thought process here is, if this one already breaks that resistance, then the momentum for this to go higher is there compared to for this to go down. But if we find a rejection at this level and we go past through the VWAP going down, then that's a good place to add. So no imbalance here yet. Very close to getting stop out here. Okay, so this is the level that I was waiting for XPEV. Wanted to know what it'll do once it touched that high of the day, 12.91. It did test that level and shoot up. Volume started to pick up there. Mara is still, all right. Mara touched that level, yesterday's low price, which is 13.8 or 13.18. Now that 13.18, that could be, this is the inside bar that I was talking about, that 13.18 could be a good support, but we'll see what micro level or micro time frame will show us. So we just tested that level, 13.18, yesterday's closing price, and let's see if that serves as a support versus a resistance. If it serves as a support, it gives us a hammer, then that's a good place to start a small position to the long, but always a small position, and then just try to build up. Now looking at the volume here, volume is starting to die down when we're pushing down. So that's very positive to being a bull. 13.16, there's no imbalance right here. So there's no imbalance right here. Expect a consolidation there. Nike is just consolidating just because, yeah, I don't like that there's not a lot of volume when this one pushed down. So not adding to that position unless there's a big conviction here that we have a bid. There's a little bit of a bid here, but the volume is still not there. So not adding to my position since I cannot move my stop loss. Now this one served as a support there. So I'm entering long in Mara. This is the level that I was waiting for it to test. Sure enough, this is the hammer that I was talking about. We did form a hammer in small time frame. If in the 5 minutes it formed a hammer, then that's the time to add. 13.14 is the stop loss here. Now, where is the good place to add here? Good place to add is once it break 13.40. So hence is on the hot keys. If it goes 13.40 here, it will be a good place to add 13.35. So just bunch of consolidation there. Struggling at 36.34. Still a big order right here though. So considering that, hands is on the trigger. Okay, so added to my position here to the long in Mara. Mara here. Since I added to my position, that is the time to update my stop loss. So stop loss here is 13.13. Okay, so Nike looks like it is, did it pass through my stop loss? It did. So Nike, I am all out at Nike. Wow, that was a break even at Nike. So was able to capture this move, but this move I got stop out, so break even there. Let's look at Mara. I do have a stop loss here in Mara. Okay. CCL is still very strong. Tesla just formed this inverted hammer right here. Consolidation right here in the daily though. So I'll focus on Mara for now. Mara, I'm willing to add to this position. I just added to my position. This is the third consecutive green candlestick or white candlestick in my case because I have mine in white. So Mara, I have 2,400 shares. I'll keep that 2,400 for now. So this one, look at what Nike did. It stuck me out and then have that consolidation here. I don't like that it's getting weaky at the top. but that wick also serves as a rejection there. So we got a rejection. The volume did pick up a little, but not a lot there to support it. Let's look at Mara. Mara had a rejection at that moving average. I do have a stop loss below the low of the day. Low of the day is 13.15, so stop loss here is 13.13. Looking at SPY, SPY is still strong. This is now just above the VWAP. So now that we are above the VWAP at the 5 minutes, this one is now looking bullish for me. So not going to be shorting that. We just had a big rejection at 13.54. Let's see if it's going to stop me out here. Look at the volume right here though. Volume is starting to become interesting because it's dying. Look at the 15 minutes. Okay. Nvidia is starting to look weak, as well as Tesla. So now it still is, volume is dying when it was pushing down. We did not even test the low of the day. So now is, if this one goes above 13.38, that will be a good place to add to this position. If not, then yeah, no reason to add. That also needs to have a confirmation that the volume had died down when it was pushing down. So testing again the low of this candlestick, which is 13.23. The next support there is this S4, 13.19. We do have stocks of orders sitting right here, 13.15. So it will test that level, 13.15. 13.15 is the low of the day. This 2 wick right here, first wick, second wick, that is the 13.15. So if the volume bar was tinier than this volume bar, then this candlestick here going up could have been a good place to add. But since the volume bar is higher, would just add once it goes past through the 9 EMA, 13.38. So 13.38 is acting as a resistance there. Added to my position here with Mara. Since I added to my position, time to update the stop loss, 13.13. So this is the time that it gets a bit risky, just because I now have built my position. So now I have 3,400 there with Mara. So that means at a small pullback, that would be a bit painful compared to having a small position. But it did tested the S4 and it did not even go below the S4. It just had that wick that is very bullish still. We're still waiting for the volume to start to pick up. Now we have the S3 as the resistance there. Added to my position here, that's a bit of a risky one because we have that moving average there. So 13.13. So I only added when I was already green. Updating my stop loss. So S3 still serving as a resistance there. That is to have the prints. So what I would like to see here is to have the 9 EMA as a support, but looking at the 5 minutes, the 5 minutes is very bullish here. Look at how we have trended up. So we are now higher high, higher low. The low of this candlestick is 13.46. If this one does not even test this level, then we're up for the races. The next step here is testing the VWAP, which is at 13.74. So now the volume is starting to pick up. It tested the 9 EMA. It tested now as well the 20 moving average Big rejection there at 13.63. That's why we have that wick. But thesis still valid because looking at the 5 minutes, we're still heading higher high, higher low. This one is very bearish though, that wick right there. So trying to see if there's any support right here. We do have support 13.54. Unlike that rejection there. Yeah, big rejection at 13.6. It's the pullback. Next support here is 13.33. Let's see what else is moving. Big pullback there. Next support is 13.24. And then next support is 13.21. Now, if I'm being aggressive, this could be the place to add right here. But I already have built a big position. So yeah, if I'm going to add, that means I have to move my stop loss. And moving my stop loss at this point when it's consolidating will not make sense because that means I am just going to get stopped out. So rather than adding here, just keeping my position, waiting for the consolidation to take place. And we'll see if this one still has the room to push up versus just push down. Nike looks like it eventually have moved up, and that's the key about not trading a stock that is already up the VWAP in shorting it. Once it's above the VWAP, then it's bullish biased. So at this point, this can just be a bunch of consolidation. $13.25. That is a big order sitting right there. That's very bearish there. So I don't like that. Although there's not a lot of volume here at that 1 minute candlestick. No, not a lot of imbalance. We do have 13.25, which is this level. So that level can be retested again. Let's see Nike. Nike now is testing, about to test the high of the day. So that will be an interesting price to look at what it will do once it tests the high of the day. Most likely that high of the day will be tested and we'll find a rejection there because it's a gap down right now. I don't like that the volume is not picking up. So now we're testing again that moving average. But if you see right here, this is how you get to see the trend. So although it's not a steep heel up, we are still heading higher high, higher low. So TC is still valid there. But of course, some trader can just dump their share as well. That's why we always have the stop loss. So although this one is a red one, it's still heading higher high, higher low. So that's why I am just waiting for this consolidation or this storm to pass. Okay, so this is the level that I was looking at. I was waiting for Nike to test, which is the high of the day. High of the day. Let's see, looks like the volume now is dying when it tested that high of the day. So that can, remember that is just a zone. So expect that zone can be retested. Once you see an inverted hammer there, that can be a potential for a short. But it's very interesting that the volume now is not there when we are testing the high of the day. A bunch of consolidation. So now, since Mara is just consolidating, looking at Nike and see what Nike is doing. Volume is still there. We are now in that zone. It now pushed up this moving average, very strong here. What is SPY doing? SPY is strong as well. Okay, so let's look at Nike. This is the first candlestick that's forming. Volume is there. Now you don't want to short this one. That's too early. We're looking only at the 1 minute. That 1 minute can just be profit takers who were long at the VWAP or somewhere here. They're just taking some profits there. So selling some shares. But what is interesting here is that 112.25 acted as a very strong resistance or very strong ceiling. While we're analyzing this, Mara looks like working on her favor. So still higher high, higher low. So let's just move on and look at and analyze a different stock. So this one, profit takings. Okay, so let's see here. Now what you wanted to do is wait for a higher time frame, like a 5 minutes. If 5 minutes gives you an inverted hammer right there, you go short at this level, stop loss right here, and that could give you a good risk to reward ratio. But at this point, it's just a 1 minute, so that can just be profit takers right there. Mara just have a bunch of consolidations. Let's look at the volume here. The longer it takes, it's also a not good sign. So let's see if this one will retest this level. Okay, so now this is what I'm talking about. We are now heading or starting to form. So even before this one finished forming, you already have a picture in your head of what kind of candlestick are you waiting to form. This candlestick, I'm waiting for that one to become an inverted hammer. So how many more minutes do we have left for that inverted hammer, or if it's gonna form as inverted hammer? We have less than a minute to see whether this is gonna form as inverted hammer. If it does, what I would like to do is short it at below the body of that inverted hammer with a stop loss above the body, just because the wick is so far up there. So 30 seconds and we'll see if this one is gonna be an inverted hammer. Mara is just consolidating, which is good. At least we get to have to analyze other stocks like Apple. So last 5 seconds. Again, what we're waiting for is an inverted hammer. And volume is not there. So this one could be a potential, but only consider this one to a short side if it goes below this level, 111.64. Because that means you are shorting it at the weakness. So we got our inverted hammer. That's the one that we were waiting for earlier. But now this one will take at least 5 minutes to form. And while that is forming, that's the time that we get to just look at different stocks, because that will take a while. 5 minutes is a long time. So interesting enough, what we can see here, it's still higher high, higher lows. But you see how our angle is getting lesser. It's less steep now. If our angle is like this, I think that's like around, what is that, 35. This one is like a 25-degree angle. This one is very bullish compared to this angle right here. This angle right here is not as bullish, like around 25 degrees there. But once the volume picks up, then that's the time that we'll get at least some good profits right here, which right now it is. So right now I'm up by almost 800 with this. So only one trade here. The Nike was a break-even one, which is like up to the penny. So now that we are testing the high of this candlestick, 13.64, another rejection there. But the volume did start to pick up. Now, is it wrong to take some partial? Nope. Taking some partial is always a good thing. So I just took some partial there. So very small profit. But now I'm moving my stop loss. So now we're heading to the VWAP. Expect some rejection at the VWAP. Some partial there because I'm expecting a VWAP rejection, which is totally normal. A lot of traders will take some partials, some profits in the VWAP. So I do have a stop loss right there. In case this stopped me out, then that is still a green trade. Oops. So this is the one that I was talking about earlier. We have been waiting for an inverted hammer. We have been waiting for the break or a price that is lower than 111.66, and that's the time to short this one. It's reassuring that the next candlestick is a red one, but now I need another confirmation. Once it goes below 111.64, that is a good place to short this one. It's another confirmation is we have the higher, lower low, lower high. Look at this trend right here. Now it's the opposite of what Mara is. So now 111.64, hence is on the trigger to short this one. Once I see okay, that was quick. I was just gonna say, once I see 111.64, then I will short it, and I just saw that one. So I shorted Nike, small position there. So I have a bunch of scribbles here. Small position with Nike. Stop loss is, this one is too high. If I put a stop loss right here, this candlestick is still not done forming. It will just stop me out. So just the high of this candlestick. I am not trying to put that in. At the same time, I'm thinking of adding to this position. So whichever comes first. If this goes to 111.61, that's the time to add to this position. So instead of putting in my stop loss, which will keep my eyes off of this, I am trying to see whether it's going to test 11.61, 62, and that's the time to add. So it's not. So just put in the stop loss. That means I still have time to monitor that one. So 111 or 112.07, that is the stop loss. High of this 112.07. Just wanted to check 112 point. Give it a 0.01. Mara is still working. We are now passed through the VWAP, so this is a good place to move the stop loss because now a VWAP is going to serve as a support there. And I do have another support here, 13.63. So Nike here. Not a lot of volume here, but that's a big volume bar. Not a lot of volume bar. That's a big candlestick. Can be an anomaly. But at this point, it can just consolidate as well. But we do have a stop loss right there. Mara having a rejection at the VWAP. Now, since both are just consolidating, this is the time to scan the charts again. Are there any other easy trades that we can do? So once your stop loss is there and you're waiting for the candlestick to form, then you can certainly look for a different play. So this one, yeah, that was the anomaly there. Big candlestick, small volume bar. So still, that one was still very bearish. So I'm waiting for this to go test again 111.64. Once it tested that level, that's a place to add. Okay, Mara had a rejection at the VWAP. XFEB is just running away here. Look at how pretty this thing is. Okay, so waiting for that retest. Okay, so added to my position. Retesting that. Since I added to my position, now is the time to update my stop loss, 112.06. .07, just to give it 0.01. Mara is still consolidating. I like that it's playing around the VWAP. This one is nice, but not a lot of volume, so that's not gonna do anything. Not a lot of volume here in Mara. We are now below the VWAP, but I do have a stop loss there. MU is having a dump. XPEV looking a bit overextended. It's overextended because it had been for how many candlestick here for 5 minutes that it had been just going higher high, higher low. And look at that degree. Okay, so Mara stopped me out. Yeah, it hit my stop loss, which is totally fine. Nike did hit my stop loss as well, so that one was a loss. So let's see with Nike. If Nike, I have my stop loss all the way up here, that is the wick, then that could have been would it not get stopped out. But also consider that the wick is so high that means the loss is going to be higher as well. That's why if that is the case for me, if there's a big wick, what I'll do is just use the body. You can always go back to the trade. This one looks like a lot of those traders who have their stop loss here got hit, so there was a spike there. So now when I'm looking at XFEB earlier, I did mention that XFEB is looking overextended. So if this one goes below 13.32, big volume here, then I will short XFEB. Now I'm considering to short this one because of the following. I have a big volume here. Overextension is here. I'm looking at the 5 minutes. So it's not like I'm just looking at the 1 minute where 1 minute could be just profit takers. Because imagine that this can still consolidate and that can take at least 5 more 1 minute candlestick for me to re-enter or enter this trade. So the trigger here is this level 13.35, which is that 13.35 acted as a support. When that support did touch, went all the way up. That's why we form a wick. But once that support is broken, then that means expect a probability of having this as a lower low, lower high, or a reversal in the trend. So looking at Nike still, Nike is just consolidating. This one is taking longer. That's the thing as well. If you use a higher time frame, it's just very slow. But that's how you silence the noise. Now, what if this one never goes below 13.34? It passed through 13.53. It goes 13.54. Then that means your thesis is invalid. That means you don't have to take the trade. So that, okay. So this one, Nike now, have that rejection at 112. Big volume bar here though, very bullish. Comparing this one to the rest of the volume, that's a big volume right there. We're talking about 846,000, currently trading 14 million. Let's look at the previous daily here. The last time it was in this level was at 2022 of October. So look at this one. It did not even tested that level right there. It just went higher high, higher low. Now we're about to test the high of the day. So that means you just cancel your thesis, canceling the thesis of shorting that stock. Volume here is just, yeah, interesting volume. Okay, looking back at Nike. Nike had retested that 9 EMA. From 9 EMA, it keeps just bouncing up. XPEV. Shorting XPEV here, small position. Once we have the confirmation that that line is broken, then that's the time to add to this position. 13.35. Looking at the tape, 13.34. Okay, added to my position with XPEV. Stop loss here. Added to my position. Stop loss is 13.53. So this one, expect some consolidation there. You do not expect a move that's like just a V reversal. Expect some profit takers there. Those who are bullish bias will start to enter this one, thinking that, oh, that's a good deal, that it has a pullback. Now it's time for them to ride this up. So that's the psychology of the traders. Still trying to monitor Nike here. So this is still our high of the day. Volume here, nothing really special with regards to the opening volume. So once that is the case, I have so many wicks here. I want to see how it looks like in a higher time frame. You just want to silence it and see whether we are forming any bias at all. So in the 15 minutes, it's still looking bullish here. So that means, yeah. Apple looking weak, just formed that inverted hammer. Nike here, looking for a confirmation for the volume bar to start to pick up. Volume bar here is so tiny with that first red candlestick, so not really as convinced yet that we have reached the top. Although this is the high of the day, 112/27. What am I doing? I'm doing a fraction. So hands is on the trigger here. See, switching up my time frame here. Small position to the short with Nike. I went short at the low of the body of this candlestick. So that is 111.80. Small position there. This can take some time to consolidate. considering that, let's see the 15 minutes. 112.25 is the high of the day. Since I have a small position, I can afford using the high of the day as my stop loss. But if I have a big position, then definitely the stop loss is just going to be right here at 112.12. So now my stop loss can be 112.27. I'm thinking of putting that in, but I'm thinking of adding to my position as well. So let's see whichever comes first, because I can only put one in my hotkeys, because the price can be so quick that when I'm putting in a hotkeys, that could already move in 111.70. Okay, so since it's still consolidating, I have time to put in the stop loss, 112.29. XPEV is working here. How's our volume bar? Thinking of, do I have a good confirmation that this is heading lower? That's the only time to add. But you see the spike there? We just had a bunch of orders coming in and filling in the ask, which is very bullish. So once those happen, those flash of orders, that can just give me, it will give you an idea that, yeah, bullish are, the bears or the bulls are still trying to jump in to this trade. We did have a rejection at 13.39. So let's see right here. We are heading below the moving average here. 5 minutes looking good for the shorts. 13.32. Big order sitting right here. 13.50. Let's see if that one is, look at this big orders right here. It's very bullish. Someone can just cancel that as well. So considering whether that one is just a drop. 13.30. Oh. Nike. I missed my ad in Nike because I am looking at XPEV. But see here. Big volume here though. So I would like to have this closer to the moving average before adding, because this one now is looking bearish. So now that I added to my position, time to lower down my risk. Lowering it down, meaning closer. 112.12 is the stop loss. Stop loss there, big volume bar. That's the other confirmation that I got that we are heading lower. See here, this is the consolidation that I was waiting for. Volume is not there, so not ideal for the ad. But look at the 5 minutes. 5 minutes is definitely heading to that reversal. We're reversing the 5 minutes. Not a lot of volume when it's pushing up. It's still testing that level. I want to see a rejection at 13.39. And once that 13.39 gets rejected, that will be a good place to add. Nike, looks like we had another leg down in Nike. I just wanted to put my ad here before going back to Nike. Orders are still sitting there at 13.50. See, added to my position. We got a big rejection at 13.36, but since I added to my position there, now is the time to 13.54 update my stop loss. Nike. Yeah, that's the thing about watching a different stock. Nike just went down to 111.52 that week right there and had that pushed up. So since I was in XPEV, did not get some partial there. Yeah, but let's just manage this risk. I do have a logical stop loss there, so that is still valid. I did not like that I did not get a partial here because I was in XPEV. So let's just monitor XPEV here. So this is the thing about this dying volume. Dying volume means expect a consolidation. This can take a couple more 5 minutes candlestick for this to decide on which way this one wants to go. So with that, it's like waiting for the paint to dry. I will be looking at a different stock. So I am short Nike. Nike had another rejection there. Nike looks good because we were able to time this all the way up here. We found that big rejection here. We were able to analyze and wait for this inverted hammer even before this one stopped forming. So even when it was still forming, you already imagine in your head what kind of candlestick are you looking forward to a short. I shorted it here and got stop out, but remember that that one is just a zone. So that zone, once it gives us another confirmation that it's now very bearish, that's the time that I went short, added to my position, and now it's just lower than 90 MA. So that one looks good. This one looks good as well. I'm waiting for the support, which is 13.2 to be broken. And the 13.50, initially there were orders here, 13.50, it's still there, but look at how far is it now from the top. The top one is the one that's get filled. So that can be just, because all the orders right here in level 2 can be canceled as well. So yeah, this one is looking good. We're now testing the support here. Support is 13.26, boom. All right, so we just went below 13.26, and that's very reassuring. And Nike as well is working here. Testing the support, we just went lower than the moving average, so that one looks good as well. CVNA, just trying to see if there's any other movers. SPY just had a little bit of a pullback here, so we are short bias, so that's helping our trade. Now, is it is it wrong to take some partials? Taking some partial is always a good thing. So just took some partial there, just a small partial. Now I have my stop loss at break even. If this one stopped me out, I'm totally fine with that. Nike is working nicely here, but this trade right here got me into a red, so I'm just going to give it some time. But XBEV, since we were able to time this reversal right here, yeah, that makes it, at least a comfortable trade, and we get to time that high of the day. So that's the way that you get to analyze whether it's looking overextended. The thing that triggered me to short XBEV was, look at this 5-minute candlestick. There were no profit takers there. So imagine those who were long here. At one point, they will try to cover their shares or sell their shares because they would like to take some profit as well. So when I saw that, I'm just waiting for some sellers to jump in, that's the time that I started to short XBEV. And that's the reason why we were able to time it correctly. Now we're still heading lower. Now we're testing the 90 MA, 13.17. We still have a bunch of, although right now we do have 13.05 right here, big order there. And yeah, very nice trade here. Nike now is heading lower. This is potential to test the VWAP here. XBEV is moving nicely, so time to just trail the stop. The trailing the stop is my favorite part because once I trail the stop, it's just waiting for that fill to happen. And when that fill happens, it's just like profit taking. So the trailing stop is my most favorite part when I'm trading. So I need this one to break 13.08 for this one to become a more dramatic move. So 13.010, bunch of bid now sitting here. We have 13.05, so that is the next destination. But we do have a VWAP at 13.07, so expect a little bit of a support right there. Now, Nike, we're about to go closer to the VWAP. So now, could have been a better trade if I put in more position, if I sold more, but that's the thing, you just want to control your risk as well. So now, big volume bar right here, so this is very bearish. So now it's time to move the stop loss lower than my break even. Time to trail the stop as well, just like what I'm doing with XBEV. Expect a bounce in the VWAP, because that is going to be some profit takers coming in there. Now XBEV is working nicely here. I am going to lower down again. VWAP is there. Expect a bounce there. Waiting for a break of the VWAP here. SPY is heading lower, so I like that because I'm short in 2 position. I want SPY to go lower than the VWAP, so that can help my Nike trade as well as my XBEV trade. So I did not get to move this so close to the VWAP because I expect that to bounce. So at least once it bounced, I do have some way here of still giving it some time to consolidate because I want this one to just ride it below the VWAP, which is what I'm doing right now. XBEV, this is the VWAP here, so lowering it down as well. So yeah, this one is an easy trade here. Looks like SPY is heading lower, so yeah, very beautiful. Just trailing down the stop. And as you can see, I did not have a lot of position. Like Nike, I only have 700. XBEV, I only have 2,500 because this is cheap stock. It's at $13. But once you get to capture that move, you can still monetize on those moves just because you can trail your stop, especially if SPY is on your side, on your trade, then yeah, it will be an easy trade. So now just trailing those stop. Now my stop loss is below the VWAP. Expect that I am so close of getting stop out there, but that was already a very good move. So even if that stopped me out, totally fine with that. Just gonna move this one at 1.09. Yeah, but sitting comfortably here with the trade. SPY just bounced, so expect a bounce here as well, because that dramatic move here was also due to the SPY having a little bit of a pullback. Now that little bit of pullback, SPY have found a support at the VWAP that got me filled, and Nike is still heading lower, so just trailing the stop there. So now while I'm just waiting for my position to get filled here, which pretty much about to happen, looking for an easier trade. If there's no easier trade, then yeah, time to call it a day. Volume did pick up there. This could have been a bigger profit if I add to my position, but it's a Friday. Want to be conservative on a Friday. Friday, there will be a lot of chop fests. So lowering down the risk, even if that means just a small profit for Friday, is better than having, those risky trade, risky move. So 11.05, waiting for my fill. And let's see, about to get fill here. Oh, we're still heading a bit lower here. If SPY can have another leg down, that will be good. But look at how big this candlestick already went through. So profit takers here. Nike is just so weak right here. Did not even have a follow through to push up. Did not even fill me in my order there. It's just spent one time with 111.05, but did not fill me in. Now SPY is having that rejection again, so that's helping my Nike trade here. Nike now is testing this level, 110.82. If 110.82 gets broken, then we're sitting nicely on a good profit there. So 110.88, order right here. 110.83 is the next destination here. 84.86, some consolidation happening. So yeah, that's very nice. So now we're testing again the support, 110.83. Once 110.83 is broken, right now we're just heading 110.93. That would be a good shift lower. SPY just had a rejection again at 9 EMA. So another leg down with the SPY, and that can give me a pretty good profit again here. So SPY had a nice rejection there. Let's see. This one is just a bunch of consolidation. I want SPY to give me another leg down, and this one just can give me a good profit as well. So 111.05. So let's see, trying to see if there's any other stocks that's moving. It went past through my stop loss. Okay, so got stop out. So yeah, that's it. Done with my trade. Only traded 3 stocks today, and it was a all green trade, so 100% accuracy there. We did time those trades. And let's see if we have any more trades to take. CCL had a good pullback here, but no trades to take here just because that's already in the VWAP. Oh, look at what XBEV did to me. XBEV got me stop out 13.1, but it went all the way to 12.77. So yeah, that was a good move right there. But that's with trading. You cannot catch all the move, but as long as you have a good risk to reward ratio, your strategy is solid, and you just rinse and repeat it. Apple could have been a good short right here, but look at the trend here. If you do again our angle, it's not as steep. So it's not as steep of that channel, meaning the reversal there could be not as steep as well, and it can even just be a flat moving forward. Now considering that it's 10:45, expect a lot of consolidation there. And let's look at SPY. SPY, what is SPY now is heading to that consolidation because it is now close to the VWAP, and look at what it's been doing just right there. So considering that the SPY is just under, just in the VWAP consolidating, yeah, I think I will call it a day. let's see, Nike. So Nike, we were able to time that entry to the low side and then now had that rejection at the VWAP. Expect some consolidation to happen there. So with that, let's just do a recap. So first I traded, since I only traded 3, I think that would be a quick recap here. Just trying to see which one is the first trade that I did. Okay, so I traded Nike. Nike is, I was short biased with Nike. What I saw with Nike, this is the only short that I was looking at because this is the only stock that had a gap down at the open. So the strategy that we teach in the class is if you have a gap down of at least 3%, you have that gap. Now, looking at the daily looks good as well, just because if you see yesterday's closing price as well as yesterday's candlestick, it opened right here. So we do have a room and we do have a bias of being a short here because of that gap down. Now at the open, it formed a very good opening range breakdown, but I did have 2 set limits today that I'm not going to be doing opening range breakdown because it's a Friday. There's a lot of false breakdown, breakup that's happening. So what I did was I have my pre-market low, pre-market high. With the pre-market low, it went all the way down, so that could have been a good opening range breakdown. It was still below the VWAP. So below the VWAP, I entered short, added to my position, and was able to capture that because I was trailing my stop. Now, I was up, not a lot, a couple of hundreds, I think just like 150 or something. And then it tested again the VWAP. So we have now formed this strong resistance there because it was tested twice. So I have a stop loss right there, entered short right here, and did not get to partial here because I was trading, I think, XFEB or Nike at that time, and then it did just stop me out. So with that stop out, it's still heading lower. The profit that I got here, I gave it back and was a bit red at that time. So I was looking at a different trade, and at that time I switched to Nike and XFEB. But with Nike, I re-entered the position. I was looking at this price right here because that's the high of the day initially, which with that high of the day, remember that is just a zone. It went past through that area or that price. And even before this candlestick form, I was already calling it out that I will be interested in shorting this stock if it gives us this inverted hammer. Sure enough, it gave us that inverted hammer. So I went short right here and I got stop out. So this one was the stop out right there. So once I get stop out, that's the thing about having your trading is always just a probability. So I got stop out. Not a problem. That stopping out right there did include the ad that I did. So that one was a red trade right there. But what I saw was, since that is just a zone, I waited for another confirmation that we are technically or basically heading lower. So once I saw this first red candlestick, I went short below the body of that red candlestick. Stop loss now is right here. Initially was right here because I only have like 300 shares. Now, once I added to my position right here, because now I have the confirmation because we headed lower, and that's the time that I add to my position. Once I'm already green on my trade, that's the time that I move my stop loss right here. So I added here, move my stop loss from here to this area, and the SPY then had a pullback as well to the VWAP at that time. So SPY had a pullback to the VWAP at that time, which helped my trade. So at that time, I was just trailing my stop, had a massive dump right here. Look at how fat and long this candlestick is. So that one just went past through the VWAP. Very nice move. I was trailing my stop and I got all out at the reversal, which was totally fine. That one already gave me 151. So just a small profit, but that one was a good move considering that I got red on this stop out. So that is the Nike trade. Next trade is XFEB. XFEB was the last trade that I did. What I saw with XFEB was XFEB was a gap up. So XFEB, you have a gap up right here. Considering that it's strong, but look at how overextended this one. If we look at and go back to our analogy of your angles, look at the angle here now. You have the angle here, which is, that's probably around 45, so more than 30. So very steep there. That steepness there of that channel, it had never formed any red candlestick. So right there, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 candlestick in 5 minutes chart that is very steep. Those who were long at this area would at one point take some partial. So that's the time that I was looking for those sellers to start to kick in or start to jump in. So we formed this high of the day around 13.5. And once I saw that this is a doji right there, I would enter short here when we go past through lower than the body of that doji. Because that means I can have a logical stop loss, which is the high of the day. And that's exactly what I did. So I went short at below the body of that doji, stop loss right here. With that confirmation that we're also heading lower, looking at the 1 minute, you have the volume bar starting to pick up. I started to go and add to my position. So added to my position, added to my position. Now, the big takeaway and key that made me have that confirmation that yes, we're really heading lower was this. Look at this volume bar. Compare that volume bar. If I unzoom it, look at that one. So that one was the giveaway. You have a volume here at the open of 1.3 million. And after that volume bar, we were just into this medium-sized volume bar. But at this time, past 10:15, we have that big volume bar, the red volume bar that corresponds to the high of the day. And that high of the day was the one that formed the inverted hammer or that doji in the 5 minutes. So this 5 minutes right here, and that's the confirmation that I was waiting for. So even before the candlestick closes, you already need to have a picture of what candlestick are you waiting for. Are you waiting for a doji? Are you waiting for inverted hammer? Are you waiting for a hammer? This one, I was waiting for a doji and the next candlestick that is lower compared to this candlestick. And that is the one that it gave me. So that's the reason why I was able to time this one correctly and really on spot in shorting this one. So once you're able to time it, you have a lower risk as well as a higher probability that the trade will go in your favor. So since I added to my position, started to partial here, and at that time it was trailing my stop. Of course, it stopped me out right here before it just touched around 12.75. Now I did leave some money on the table, but that's totally fine. That's trading. But with that little bit of a move there and building up, scaling up to my position, XPEV gave me 653 there. So a very easy trade, textbook trade, and not a lot of in and out trade, but just doing that thesis, that strategy that we have discussed in the class. Now, next one is Nike. Nike is the one that I just discussed. And the last one is Mara. So with Mara is almost flat at the open. When I say flat, that means it's not above 3%, it's not below 3%. But what I saw with the daily is it's actually an inside bar. So that one, we also discussed that in the class, that when you have a previous candlestick like that, your opening price is in between the level of yesterday's candlestick, then that's an inside bar. So that means it can just go back and forth to this level right there. So when I saw Mara, this one, another overextended looking. So look at this big fat candle bar there. You have the volume supporting that, but it's just so big that it's like grabbing you in the face that this is an overextended here. So it went past through yesterday's closing price. Now, what I like about Mara is looking at the daily. That's why you always have to go up to a higher time frame, because a higher time frame will give you the bigger picture. So the higher time frame, yesterday's low was at 13. And where is that here? 13 is right around this area. Yesterday's closing price is this level, which is this level. And the low of yesterday's candlestick is this area. Look at what it did with that area. It served as a very strong support. So, was looking at that area, I'm telling myself, once that area shows me some signs of a strong support, then that's the time to be long on this trade. Sure enough, tested first, second test right here. When I saw that it had been just bouncing above that support, I went long, starting to add to my position here, added to my position. Imagine this one is a very cheap stock. So for you to monetize on a cheap stock, you have to build up your position. So keep adding to my position. Now, the thing that makes me comfortable with this trade is looking at the higher time frame. The 5 minutes is still heading higher high, higher low. So we still have that channel of going higher high, higher low. Because if you focus at the micro, which is the 1 minute, what you'll see here is just a bunch of noise. So for you to silence the noise, always look up to the next higher time frame. Look at this one. If you see my ad here, the ad probably wouldn't make any sense at all. You have the ad there, and then a little bit of pullback, you have an ad there. But if you look at a bigger time frame, the 5 minutes, you'll see that we're still heading higher high, higher low. And look at the ad that I was doing. So now you're incorporating everything. So I have the hammer right there. I went long there, about to break that 9 EMA, added to my position, added to my position. Now this candlestick is still higher compared to this. So that means our trend is still higher high, higher low, about to break the 9 EMA, added, about to break that 20 moving average, added to the position. So with that add, was able to build up to a position where I am comfortable that even if it pulls back, at least I have my stop loss at the logical support, which is the low of the day. And I do have an S4 there, which is the Camarilla pivot point. So with that, it just makes the trade so much easier. You have that, you incorporate the bull flag pattern there where you added at the pullback, you're not chasing it because you're adding at the pullback. And once it touched that VWAP, that's the time that I started to take some partial. So I partial right here at that 20 moving average, about to reach the VWAP. Did not get to partial all the way up the VWAP. I was in the middle of the other two trades that I'm doing, but partial here, trailing my stop, and it stopped me out. So with that, it was an easy trade, and got 653 in XPAV, Mara 701, and Nike is 151. But an easy Friday, not the biggest gain, is just 1500, but I'll take what the market is giving me, and we'll get back to it again on Monday. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to email me. We do have the link below if you want to just download one of our favorite strategy, which is an opening range breakdown, opening range break up. If you have questions on how to use that play, feel free to email us as well. We would like to hear about your comments, your suggestions. If you want to hear more about analysis of the chart, put that in the comments as well. If you have, you're struggling, just reach out to us. We would love to help. And that's it for me for today. So I hope you guys have a green trading day, and I hope you guys have an easy trading day. For those of you who have questions on where to begin on how to day trade for a living, please check our website out. It's called eCourse Unlock. And with that website, we do update our content and add to it every week. So learning never stops. We do have our syllabus right there as well, and our book that is now published on Amazon if you want to just check into that and see whether day trading is for you. So it's called Day Trading Unlocked by Mary de Guzman. Our syllabus is there. We do have chapter 11 here as well that includes at least 3 hours of content. So we need to update this one. And we do have our free top strategy, and that is this link right here. So please download that one out. And we do have our weekly recaps. So with that, hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July, and please stay safe, and we'll do this again and on Monday. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a green trading day and happy trading.